What would you do if the person you humiliated in front of a crowd turned out to hold your fate in their hands? In the small town of Fairview, where whispers of prejudice still lingered like dust in the air, Officer Daniel Hargrove strutted into the county courthouse with a smirk. He was a man of routine, his badge a shield for his biases, his authority unquestioned at least, in his mind. Today he was escorting a defendant, a black woman named Lena Carter, accused of petty theft. The charge was flimsy, a trumped-up claim from a local shopkeeper with a grudge, but Hargrove didn't care. To him, Lena was just another name on a report, another face to control. As they entered the courtroom, Hargrove's disdain was palpable. Lena, her wrists cuffed, walked with quiet dignity, her eyes scanning the room. She was in her early 40s, with a presence that seemed to unsettle him. Maybe it was the way she held her head high, her braided hair a crown of defiance. Hargrove, emboldened by the crowd of onlookers, decided to make a spectacle. "Let's clean you up for court," he sneered, pulling a pair of clippers from his bag. Before anyone could react, he grabbed Lena, forced her to a chair, and shaved her head in jagged, humiliating strokes. Gasps echoed through the room, but no one intervened. Lena's eyes burned with silent fury, her lips pressed tight. The act was meant to break her, to strip her of pride. Hargrove laughed, tossing the clippers aside, oblivious to the storm he'd unleashed. The courtroom doors swung open, and a bailiff called for order. The judge was about to enter. Hargrove, still smug, leaned against the wall, expecting another routine hearing. But then, a figure emerged from the back, a woman in a black robe, her presence commanding, her head freshly shaved. It was Lena Carter. The room fell silent, the air thick with shock. Hargrove's smirk vanished as his eyes locked onto her. Lena wasn't the defendant. She was the judge. The twist hit like a thunderclap, but it wasn't the only surprise. Among the onlookers stood Clara, a young court clerk who'd watched the scene unfold with growing horror. Clara had known Lena for years, not as a judge, but as her mentor, the woman who'd pulled her out of a troubled youth and guided her toward a career in law. Clara's hands trembled as she clutched her notepad, her heart torn between loyalty to the system and rage at Hargrove's cruelty. She stepped forward, her voice shaking but clear, and addressed the court. "Your Honor, I witnessed everything. This officer's actions were deliberate and disgraceful." Her testimony, unexpected and raw, shifted the room's energy, amplifying Lena's authority. Lena took her place at the bench, her shaved head gleaming under the courtroom lights, a symbol of both violation and resilience. She fixed her gaze on Hargrove, who now stood rigid, his bravado crumbling. "Officer Hargrove," she began, her voice steady but laced with steel, "you stand before this court not as an escort, but as a man accused of assault and abuse of power." The charges weren't about the shopkeeper's theft claim. That case had been dismissed hours ago. This was about Hargrove's actions, now under scrutiny thanks to Clara's courage and the courtroom's witnesses. Hargrove stammered, his face pale. "You didn't know, Your Honor. I thought. You thought you could degrade someone because of who you assumed they were." Lena cut in, her words slicing through his excuses. She recounted her journey rising from a childhood in Fairview's poorest neighborhood, facing discrimination at every turn, yet earning her place on the bench through grit and grace. "You saw my skin, my hair, and decided I was less. But this courtroom is where truth outweighs prejudice." The trial was swift. Witnesses corroborated Clara's account, and Hargrove's history of misconduct surfaced complaints buried by a complicit system. Lena's ruling was firm. Hargrove was stripped of his badge, sentenced to community service, and ordered to attend sensitivity training. But her final words carried the most weight. "Justice isn't vengeance," she said, her voice softening. "It's accountability. Learn from this, or you'll lose more than your job." As Hargrove was led away, Lena exchanged a glance with Clara, a silent acknowledgement of their shared fight. The courtroom, once a stage for humiliation, became a beacon of hope. Lena's shaved head, meant to shame her, now stood as a testament to her strength, a reminder that justice, when wielded with compassion, could heal even the deepest wounds. Yendi.